I say this on a set of Journey all the time, is they don't see the vision. And that's just about like reframing and realizing that like people might not see what you're doing yet, but that shouldn't stop you from doing it.
Welcome to the Evolved Podcast, an open forum on personal growth and cultivating a positive mindset. I'm your host, Joe Fitzpatrick. Today on the show, we have Myles Brown. Myles, also known as MYLO, spelled M.Y.L.O, is a musician and filmmaker from Richmond, Virginia. His most recent project, Journey, is a visual album that explores his grief journey after the loss of his best friend. MYLO turned to music, videography, and Richmond's outdoors to reach a sense of closure. MYLO is the owner of his own video production company. He's currently working on an orientation video for Maymont, a Richmond Branding video for Chamber RVA, and starting his own YouTube series called Buffet RVA, which explores the subcultures in Richmond, including the Broad Street Bullies. I met MYLO after his first video with the Broad Street Bullies was released earlier this year. And he's someone who I really enjoy connecting with on a personal level because of our shared interest in video production. So without further ado, here is Myles Brown. Let's go. Myles, thanks for being here, man. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Of course, dude.
Sharing what you're about. Many good things, as I already know. But if you could just give a brief introduction on who you are, what you do for a living, and what you're passionate about, that'd be great.
Yeah, so my name is Myles Brown. Most people just call me MYLO. I'm a musician and filmmaker based out of Richmond, Virginia. And I have a video production company called MYLO Video Productions. So I do a lot of business promotions for different businesses around the city of Richmond. Recently, Richmond Branding video, some work for Maymont Park. I have a film entitled Journey that I just finished up about coping with the loss of my best friend and mental health awareness, using the spaces in Richmond around us to build up the capacity to deal with stressors in our lives. So that's the rundown on me.
That's awesome. Yeah, you've done a lot of really great work, and you're, pretty much just getting started, even though you've been doing it for a few years now. You're definitely making a positive impact here in Richmond, and that's starting to expand outward. So really good to connect with you on here, and to have started to get to know you professionally in like the video production space as well.
Broad Street Bullies, baby.
Yeah, so Myles and I also participate in a local bike riding group called Broad Street Bullies. I've been riding with them for a few months now, and Myles has this new video series that he's creating called Buffet RVA, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Created
Buffet
a video
RVA.
for them that's going to be part of that video series. So do you want to talk more about that?
Yeah. So Buffet RVA is a chance for me to kind of find different people's stories around the city of Richmond who otherwise won't have their stories told, and just tell those narratives as organically as possible. So like, for instance, for someone like the Broad Street Bullies, I'll just interview some of the people who started it, and then just go on a ride out and just get candid footage of everybody enjoying themselves and having a good time. And just going to different places around the city of Richmond that people recommend, like restaurants, and having people who have blogs and food reviews talk about it and give them episodes on the show. And just, it's all about enriching the culture of the city. So yeah, I don't make any money from it, but it's so much fun.
Who are some of the other people that you worked with for that series?
So there's a guy named NX Review. He has his own food blog, and we're doing like something called Pizza Party RVA, where we go to different pizza spots and kind of rate them and talk about their ambiance and what they bring to the Richmond community. Miscellaneous is like a big blogger who has a lot of followers, and I'm going to do an episode with her wherever she chooses. I'm not sure yet. And then I started a new one. I think they're called New Stars, but they're like a group of middle schoolers who are into creative writing, and they write about food, and they're going to different restaurants around the city from different cultures. The first restaurant they went to was an Afghan restaurant called the Montu in Carytown.
I've heard about that.
I'm telling their story and doing a review about them and making them an episode for their organization. So cool. Staying busy.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you get started doing what you love, filmmaking and all that?
I started when I was in middle school, kind of making highlight tapes, and I didn't think it would really amount to anything. Then when I was in college playing sports, I did a bunch of like day in the life videos for my soccer team. And then when I was at VCU for grad school, one of my friends posted a video for VCU Strength, and I was like, that video is trash. Like, let me make you guys something better. And that turned into an independent study where I did a bunch of videography for VCU Strength and all of their athletic teams. And that progressed into me getting more clients and then storytelling and, doing business promotions in the city.
I'm curious to talk about that, like, first video. Like, what sort of equipment were you working with at the time? What was your vision for creating that video?
Yeah, I think which one are you talking about? The with VCU or the day in the life videos?
With I guess it sort of applies to both. I mean, were you using the same equipment in the day in the life videos that you were using for the VCU Strength program?
Yeah, I started out just using my dog is going crazy downstairs. So I think the mailman is here. But I started out just using my phone. The day in the life video that I made, this was back when I was at Notre Dame playing soccer. That one had like 27,000 views. And I filmed that with like my iPhone 5.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, but I edited it on like iMovie and everything like that. And I guess people were loving it. And then when I started working with VCU Strength, I started with my camera, and I had like one of those like Zhiyun phone gimbals. And I just put my phone in there and just started filming, in the weight room. And that's how I got my start. Yeah. And then I bought my first camera like a little bit less than 2 years ago, and it's kind of taken off since there.
Yeah. It's cool that you can do so much with the phone. And like now the phones have even gotten even better.
Yeah. Now they have like cinematic mode and everything, and you can color grade and stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. Have you tried like going back in time in certain aspects and like doing certain video projects with just your phone?
I haven't. Sometimes I use my phone for like to give texture.
Yeah.
Like I'll have the super cinematic footage and like drone footage, and then my footage from my FX3, and then throw in cell phone footage to make it seem like more personable. So I still mix in the phone.
Right. And I know you did that with one of the Broad Street Bullies videos that you made recently, right?
Yeah, I think I used some cell phone footage from it. I try to use cell phone footage whenever I can. It just gives it an organic feel because people are there in the moment, and we're used to seeing cell phone footage on Snapchat or Instagram or TikTok. So it just makes sense to work it in there. Like even in that Richmond rebrand video, like I threw cell phone footage in there.
So you did a video for Richmond's rebrand? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So there's this, it's for the Chamber of Commerce. They have this branch called Chamber RVA. And within Chamber RVA, there's this thing called RVA Now. And they're focused on attracting young professionals to the city of Richmond. So they're going to show the video that I make to all the colleges and universities and all the businesses who are part of the chamber. So a lot of people.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But I want to make sure that I maintain my own style in it. So a lot of their previous videos are just very corporate and like bland and like all slow-mo and like super cinematic, but I switched it up and threw in a lot of drone footage and a lot of people just candidly interacting. So we would go to places like, say we have like 3 lanes rented out at River City Roll, and like beer and drinks, beer and like and the food is on the house. I would just be like, all right, everybody, just interact like you normally do, and I'll just get stuff when you're not paying attention.
Right.
So I'm trying to give the actual life and feel of Richmond, or like, riding with the Broad Street Bullies with my gimbal, like off the back of the bike, like even the shots that I got of you, like with the Broad Street Bullies, like that's the type of footage that I'm putting in that video as well. It's like juxtaposed with the cinematic so that people get the real life feel of the city.
Totally. And it's great because it combines that element of like stage production, that is a bit more traditionally cinematic, while also, providing that candid interaction.
Yeah.
And that authenticity that, a lot of people are looking for. And, the using like the cell phone footage just adds to that because it, makes it much more relatable.
Yeah, exactly. It's like anybody could have filmed that, as opposed to like, oh, it was a production company coming through with like a huge camera rig. Like, no, like some of the shots, I was like, yo, you go to the baseball game and film yourself and send it to me. And that's what I use. So
yeah. And just sort of back to the point about how awesome cell phone cameras are. Like, I know the Broad Street Bullies, they film themselves a lot, with their cell phones, and it looks great.
That's the that's the footage I
get all the good angles,
Yeah, because they went to a baseball game and I hit up Amen and I was like, bro, could you send me a few of those clips and I'll just use them in my video? And he was like, yeah, I got you.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, what was the first camera that you bought when you like upgraded your equipment?
So I bought the Sony A7R2. It shoots in 1080p, like pretty well. 4K, it only shoots 24 frames per second, so it's fine for like corporate shoots, what have you. But yeah, it's not the best in low light. So when I upgraded, I got a camera that was better in low light. So.
And when did you start shooting your drone footage?
I think summer of 2020 was when I first started. That's when I bought a drone. Because I wanted to give more of an objective feel and more of a cinematic feel. And I feel like if you have drone footage, you can get that if you know how to work it and move it the right way. And it gives a broader perspective and scope, and it makes it seem like your budget's higher when you have a drone. So I started using that, and then I turned into, I wouldn't say predominantly a drone pilot, but my drone footage facilitates what I do on the ground. It's like very strategic. So
absolutely. Did you start using the drone footage when you were starting production of your film journey?
I started it before that, actually. I started working on Journey in like February of 2021. I got my drone in the summer of 2020, and I started using that like during COVID because like I couldn't really leave my house and like do a bunch of stuff, like no one could.
Right.
So I would just fly my drone by like Browns Island and Belle Isle, and it was like very calming and therapeutic. And that's how I started with it.
So where did you get the idea for Journey? How did that come about?
It was wild because so as I mentioned earlier, it's dedicated to my best friend who passed away. And It was a way for me to kind of cope, and it was cathartic in a way
Yeah.
for me to deal with it in a positive way. But it started out like me just one night I wrote 5 songs, like back to back to back to back to back. And I was like, this never happens. Like something like some sort of inspiration came out of something. And I couldn't identify it. And I called one of my good friends who's actually a part of Journey. And he was like, yo, you've been doing a lot of video production. You should make it into a film. And I was like, all right, bet, like, let's do it. So I started coming up with different prompt questions, and a lot of Journey takes place outside,
Yeah.
because those were the only spaces that I felt comfortable being in, maskless or during COVID.
Right.
And that's how it started. Just candid conversations. Like the conversations that you hear in Journey are like real conversations that we had and just re-recorded with better audio equipment.
Mm. So, are there like scripted parts, but they're taken from real life? Is that what you're describing?
There are, so I would go to different parks in Richmond and have these conversations with one of my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have prompt questions, and we would just go in and just answer them back and forth, like how we're talking right now.
Yeah.
And then based on the narrative that I started developing with the film and how it related to the songs, I took specific pieces from those actual candid conversations and I transcribed them, and we read them back with a real microphone so that the audio quality would work in like a studio and like theater setting.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So it was all candid. Like
Yeah.
there are some parts where like we planned it at the very end because we wanted to drive a message home,
Mhm.
but 90% of it was just candid talking.
Right.
Yeah.
And what was the overall message that you were trying to put out there?
That the grieving process is different for everybody. It's not like one set in stone path. That there are positive ways to cope with stresses that are in our life. And if you live in Richmond, those ways could really be anything. Like, expressing yourself through art, or maybe you're a screenwriter, or maybe you're into woodworking, or maybe you're into bicycling, like all these different, or exercising, all these different things. But what I chose was music and film, and just letting people know that there are different outlets that are positive to cope with that.
Love that.
Yeah.
What would you say is your why for doing what you love and working at developing that skill?
I just want to make a difference, a positive difference in the world. And you have to start somewhere. And I think right now, especially with the opportunities I've been getting recently, people have seen my passion for like talking about film and mental health awareness and encouraging people a lot. So I've been invited to speak to high schools or younger audiences who are interested in filmmaking, and just talk about my story and how they can get into storytelling. Because I think if you can tell your own narrative, you have power. And I want to empower as many people as possible to tell their own stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And, video is such a powerful tool for sharing stories, like hundreds of years ago, we'd be telling them around the campfire.
Yeah.
But now we're, telling them in videos that we can share online. But it's the same principle that applies. It's just a different format,
Right. Yeah. You can just reach more people with the same concrete message without, variance within storytelling, like a campfire would be. It's like, this is my message. I'm going to show it to all these different people, and you can see it firsthand. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what attracted you to video in the first place? Like, I know, were you doing music before that?
Yeah,
and then
I
started doing video as well?
I started doing music when I was like 5 or 6, but it was completely different. It was classical music. I was a pianist. I used to play like Mozart, Beethoven, Bach, Tchaikovsky. Like I
Wow.
was really into all of the classic composers. And then I lost interest completely. And then I started getting back into it senior year in high school when I was writing my own music. But video production, like, I don't know. Once I started editing footage when I was playing soccer, like in middle school, doing people's highlight tapes, I was like, this is kind of fun. And then it just progressed. And then, of course, like, timing's everything. So to facilitate that, like, I was doing all of these different highlight tapes, what have you. And then who moves across the street from me but a screenwriter? And so I started talking to him about different things. Like, yeah, we have like a 20-year like age difference, but he's telling me about the stuff he's working on, and I'm telling him about my stuff. And whenever he would do something, he would send it my way and I would read it and we would just talk about it. I think that's like what really developed my passion for it. And we're still friends today. Like, we were just texting yesterday about his new Amazon Prime series with Chris Pratt called The Terminalist.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, so that was him. He produced that whole thing. So, awesome. But yeah, I was back at my crib, like at the age of 15, reading his old screenplays that never were seen by anybody. But because I did that, he trusted me to, like, you know, read and watch other stuff. And now that he's doing big stuff, he's like, yo, like, I'm talking to so-and-so about your work, yada, yada, yada. Like, I never knew that was going to happen, but like, I always believed in him. So like, I think he believes in me now, which is cool.
Yeah, that's a great connection to have, man.
Yeah.
You never know what can come from that.
Yeah, and he's the dopest person too. Like, he just sent me a picture of him chilling with Chris Pratt, outside the ring at UFC. They're like next to each other, just chilling, vibing. And I was like, bro, what? I was like, this is not where you were like 5 years ago, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, you're making moves too, man. I mean, you're doing all these screenings for your movie and getting a lot of positive press, which is only helping to spread the message.
Yeah. So. Then I'm working with the Richmond International Film Festival, because a lot of people don't know about the film festival, and it's very exclusive because they have thousands of submissions, but only accept like 170 films. And I submitted Journey past the deadline, because I was like, why not? Like, sure. And she was like, yeah. And now I'm helping plan the next year's festival. And we're doing events like throughout the year. So we're going to try to do a big event coming up soon, get the marketing out about it, and potentially have it at somewhere in a venue as big as like the Austria Theater by VCU. But we'd be showing Journey to try to get like local interest in it. So yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah. And I also saw that you helped lead a panel on like music in movies. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I led a panel on music in the film festival. It was like R&B and rap music and its lasting impact on the culture. And I kind of just like, facilitated that conversation and just asked questions to different artists who were up on the panel and just talked to them about it. I never hosted a panel before, but it was cool. I'm in the stage of my life where I'm just trying new things. Like, if people have an opportunity for me to get in front of other people, I just say yes, and I just do it. I'm living outside of my comfort zone right now, and I think that's what's getting me like to grow a lot quicker than most people. Yeah. Is I'm just saying yes to all these different opportunities, and I'm just making a lot of connections. So
it's a good place to be, man.
Yeah.
I've found from personal experience, the more outside your comfort zone you can be, the more you're going to grow, and there will be great opportunities for, doing what you want to do at a higher level.
Yeah, facts. You start getting around people who like know more than you, and you pick up stuff from them, then you start just getting better. Yeah. You're not going to get better just staying with the people you've been around all the time. You got to get around people who, like, if you fuck up, they're going to be like, yo, what the fuck was that? Just hold you accountable. Yeah. So, just taking more risks.
Hey guys, brief pause in the episode to tell you about some of the great businesses that support this podcast. First, we got Weight Train. Use code Evolved Podcast to get 10% off all Weight Train and Athleticity gym gear and apparel. No matter what you need for your workouts, they have the gear to help you get it done. And if you don't see something you want, email them at team@weighttrain.com and they will take your requests for new products. Visit Weight Train for all your gym gear needs. Next is True Nutrition. Use code Evolved Podcast to get 5% off all nutrition supplements. I'm personally a fan of their soy isolate vegan protein powder, available in a variety of flavors and strengths, from light to heavy. They also have non-vegan protein powders if that's not your thing. I personally recommend the cinnamon bun and toasted coconut flavors in the heavy strength, and I add them to waffles, oatmeal, protein shakes, and ice cream. They're delicious. Check out their wide range of supplements at affordable prices that are third-party tested and verified for content quality. They are able to provide such great prices because the supplements come direct from the manufacturer without any marketing gimmicks or fancy labels. Visit truenutrition.com to supplement your workouts and your nutrition. Last is Hate Brand Goods. Use code Evolved Podcast to get 15% off all Hate Brand clothing and accessories. Their goat shorts and shirts are the most comfortable clothing I've ever worn, and they have the coolest designs. However, their clothing drops are only available in limited quantities, so get your favorites while you can, and be on the lookout for other drops that you're stoked on. Visit thehate.com, spelled HVIII, for clothing to remind the world that you're not dead yet and you're ready to kick today in the dick. Back to the show. What's a current project that you're working on or have recently finished?
That Richmond Branding video, working on that still, the corrections that we spoke about. I got a Maymont video coming out, which is going to be cool. They're opening up a new welcoming center, and I'm doing their orientation video. So just getting a bunch of cool drone footage of the park. What else am I doing?
Is that all that they requested? Just drone footage, or is there more to it?
There's more to it. There's like I have this tripod slider, and like I have my camera that'll be attached to it and getting certain movements of like inside of the mansion. So more like technical shots and then drone shots and then some gimbal work through the park.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like that one will be more on the cinematic side.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, still, when you're dealing with clients, you got to make sure you get the shots they want. But I took pictures. I walked through the park with the lead on the project, and we got the pictures. So I'll get that drone footage, and then I'll walk with them through the house to get exactly what they want. They seem like they know exactly what they want, which should help.
Yeah, usually it does.
Yeah,
the client has a clear vision of what they want to.
This guy has more of an art mind, and he saw Journey, and he was like, "Yeah, we need you for Maymont." And I was like, "Cool."
Right.
But he's very, very, very precise, like in everything that he does. Mm-hmm. And precision makes stuff. I mean, it's hard because you want to get exactly what they want, but it's easy because you know what they want.
Right.
So you can do it.
So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's a great film that I watched when I was going to school at VCU I was in a program called Advanced Media Production Technology, mm-hmm. and 1-year program, but I did it in 2 years because I was also working full time. There's a film about this guy who's a famous filmmaker, and it's called like the 12 Obstructions or something along those lines.
Okay.
And he gets challenged by his mentor to make a film 12 times, but each time he makes it, there's a different obstruction that he has to like abide by.
Yeah.
Like, so he finds it more challenging to, create the film with, the different obstructions because, it's a rule that he has to stick to.
Hmm.
So, in a certain way, it can expand your creativity, but it can also be challenging when
Yeah.
you have like
It's,
those specific guidelines to stick to.
yeah. Sometimes it's tough because people want you to like put, I'm finally at the stage where people are hiring me because they know my style,
Yeah.
but then they also have like their idea in mind. So they're like, we want you to do what you do, but like we still want to get our message across. And I'm very good at getting people's message across with my style.
Uh-huh.
But if they change up drastically last minute, then it's just like, bro, like what do I
Yeah.
like I
That
already
also
shot.
reminds me of something else that I saw. This guy, Fred Pinkard at Salvation Tattoo Gallery, he tattooed me years ago. And he had this painting that he made that said, "Art directors pay double."
Yeah. Like it's yeah. Dealing clients are a whole battle.
Yeah.
I want to get to this space where like, and I think I'm getting there,
Uh-huh.
where I can just be creative full time. And that'll be dope. But, at the meantime, you gotta do what you gotta do until you can do what you want to do. So
Yeah, I hear you.
yeah.
So are you working part-time in addition to doing your video production company?
No, just video production. Yeah. It pays well. Um, I finally reached that clientele where it's like consistent gigs of like good pay. Um, but at a certain point, you just want to do your own thing.
Of course, yeah.
Oh,
How long did it take you to get to that point where you felt comfortable, going out and doing it full time?
a year and a half. But
Yeah.
that's because I was like, I think I worked harder than most people normally like do. Like I progressed faster than most people do
Hmm.
because it was all I did for 2 years.
Sure.
Yeah, I would make a video every day. I make multiple videos a day. And I had like really good mentors who taught me things that made me skip years in advance because they told me what their mistakes were and told me how to do things. And I replicated it and was able to get my own style out of it. So, and I just talked to everybody like who is in the industry. Like someone's like, oh, you should talk to this person. I called them and I talked to them. That's how I'm able to make connections is I'm learning more about video production, but then I'm also talking to like everybody who people recommend. And because of that, this person knows that person, they know someone up here. And then now I have this gig over someone who's been working for 10 years.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
I
mean,
have the product to back it now.
yes, it helps that you're a confident guy and you have the personality to back it up too.
Oh yeah. Like I talk myself up. I can be like, oh yeah, you like this type of video? I can give you that. Here, look at this video I did for this person. That's because I did stuff for free so that I would have the ability to have references so people in higher places could be like, I want a video like that. So I think that's like the sacrifice that people have to realize is that sometimes you have to do a video for free to show people who pay a lot of money what they want.
Right. No, it's true. And I know, for making your film journey, that's been a really good profile piece for you that's helped
Yeah.
you with other client work, especially like with Maymont, since you shot a lot of, or at least some of the scenes you shot in the Maymont Park as well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really helped attract people, to want that similar style for
Yeah. That's
video.
helped a lot, honestly. I think that's been my biggest like pull for clients. But that was like a full year of work.
Yeah.
I was doing my own like, production for my business in the meantime. But like that was my main project. So I was like, if I invest in this, the payoff is going to be infinite. You know, it's going to do a lot of good in the community, but also like it'll do a lot of good for my business. So forcing my passion and like how I make money align. So like I can do a passion project, but it ultimately feeds into my business, which is over here. So,
well, since you're so prolific, it doesn't sound like you get into creative slumps, but I know we all have them from time to time. You know, maybe it lasts a day, maybe it lasts a couple days or longer. When you're in a creative slump, what do you do to get out of it?
yeah. I don't normally have too many because I diversify my projects a lot. Like I'm always doing stuff. Like if I'm not doing, if I have a slump in music, I just pick it up on the video end. But I think it's just about living life for me and just like hanging out with cool people.
Yeah.
And they just give me different perspectives on stuff and hanging out with cool groups around the city, like meeting new people, like when we met in that coffee shop, like just finding new friends around the city just gives me different inspiration to tell different types of stories. So if I'm like in a dry spell, I just, you know, go out in the city and walk around and film some drone footage. And I normally meet a lot of cool people while I'm walking. So just other people's stories just give me a lot of inspiration.
Do you bring your camera with you everywhere you go?
Most places. Yeah, I normally carry my drone with me to some capacity. Like if I ever walk around the river, I have my backpack with my drone. It's like people will figure out what I'm doing and recognize me probably from walking around with my backpack because I'm filming all the time. So
yeah, even if you didn't have your drone, at least you have your cell phone and that could record something too.
yeah, I'm always filming to some capacity. I like to take time to like be present and like live in the moment and like not use my camera. But it's tough because I'm such a visual person that when I see stuff, I want to capture it. So it's kind of finding that balance between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any habits you practice that help you to stay productive, remember new ideas, or add value to your life? And if so, what are they?
I record a lot of voice memos. I like to keep different ideas. Like I always listen to instrumentals on YouTube that kind of get my mind going as far as musically. Video wise, like I watched some stuff from like, I don't know if you've heard of Cole Bennett from Lyrical Lemonade, but he does a lot of music videos for people like Gunna and Lil Yachty and like, you know, all this type of stuff. But he's like huge in like using your phone and having big budgets, but like not using them and all this stuff. And he's only 26, but he's done like all this stuff. And a lot of times when I'm feeling like low, I just kind of watch some of his inspirational videos of like how he made something. And I'm just like, I can do that too. So that's what I normally do. Like, Lyrical Lemonade and Cole Bennett. That dude is, he starts movements and he's just super talented and really humble and super chill about it. So he's someone that I look to. Yeah, for sure. But voice memos, yeah. I go back through old voice memos and see what I'm thinking at different times and you know, different song ideas if I have something else recorded real fast. And then get to
what does that look like? Is that like you like saying lyrics or like singing a verse?
Yeah, it's like me singing like a phrase, but that's enough to get the rest of the song. Like if I have a phrase, I can pretty much remember how everything else goes. My notepad is filled in my phone. It's crazy. I have thousands and thousands of notes and just probably 1,000 voice memos, just saying different ideas that come to my head. Like I don't revisit most of them, but if I have something I want to, like it's there.
So. Yeah, exactly. it is a very handy tool, just to jot down something so you don't forget it later. It's very good to practice. I also use the crap out of my notes and my calendar as well, just so everything is accounted for. Like if it's happening, it's got to go on the calendar.
Yeah. I've been a huge believer in my calendar recently, because before, my meetings and stuff were really spread out when I was first starting, but now I live by it.
Yeah.
If you text me oh, our things at 7, I put it straight in my calendar, or I set alarms. So when I was out today, I had an alarm. So I was all right, go back home to go talk with Joe. So otherwise, sometimes I get carried away. So I'm very into what I'm doing, and I just gotta get a reality check and come back and be all right.
Yeah.
These things.
Sure. It helps to, prioritize, and, if you go out and try and follow a story, you never know, where you're going to end up and how long you're going to be out doing it. So,
and I get lost in when I'm telling stories, or when I'm filming, 10 hours can feel 30 seconds to me.
Yeah. You get into that flow state.
Yeah.
Everything just starts going by a lot quicker.
Yeah. That's just what happens. Even when I'm editing,
yeah, same here.
Kind of get into the mode, and it's just nonstop. So I have to remember to eat and stuff, because
absolutely,
I just get so focused on things, and I have to remember to take care of myself.
Yeah. And speaking about taking care of yourself, what are some ways that you practice self-care in your life to give yourself the energy to focus on your personal growth?
What a segue. I say just walking around outside, exploring the park system in Richmond. That's what I do. It just clears my mind and lets me refocus on stuff. I don't know. I feel something about being outside. I feel a part of something bigger than myself. So the problems that I'm facing don't seem as bad compared to everything else that exists in the world. So I like going on walks to kind of refresh my mind.
Yeah. I also big fan of walks, especially walking my dog. And she's got to get out there, do her bathroom thing. I need to get out there, stretch my legs, get away from the computer for a little bit, get some fresh air, get around, some green space.
Yeah, it's a good refresher. It's like a cleanse.
Absolutely.
Being outside, feeling the warmth, or the mugginess, I guess now, because it's so hot and humid. But I don't know, just feeling something, kind of.
Yeah, get a change of environment, and they say it's good for your mental health as well. Not physical aspect, but being out in nature, helps calm the mind and relieves anxiety. So it's all good.
Yeah. So that's where you catch me. If I'm not filming, I'm taking a walk somewhere.
Yeah. Do you have any other type of workout that you like to do to, help you stay fit and in shape to do all your filming projects?
I don't know. I used to be when I played soccer in college, I was super regimented, and then I kind of took a step back from it because it was it was overwhelming. But now I just play adult league soccer a lot, and kickball.
Yeah, big kickball fan.
Yeah, I play kickball. Our team won the championship this last season, so I mean, not too bad.
Not bad. How long have you been playing?
Just since the spring. I started in the spring. Soccer, or adult league soccer, I guess last summer was my first summer playing. So that's how I kind of stay active. And I used to do a lot of at-home workouts and stuff, but I don't know. Recently, my back's kind of been bothering me, so I haven't been doing as much. Right now, I'm in a little a step back from everything because I'm trying to get my back to where it was. Because I was in a car accident. Some person ran into me.
Right.
And so I've been trying to recover from that. But once I recover from that, I'm back to being really active.
Good stuff.
But through sports. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hard for
yeah,
me I don't just go in the gym, just, I don't, gyms are tough for me. I used to be okay with them, but I don't know. More of a stay-at-home guy.
why is that?
I don't know. Like gyms are, it's just like a lot of germs now that I think about.
Yeah, with COVID, you do have to.
Yeah, I was like, it's a lot. So
Uh-huh.
that was my kind of step back from the gym. Then I started doing like
Yeah.
at-home stuff because I'm like,
Yeah, a
dang.
lot of people have been doing that, like, building out their at-home gyms, especially like when the gyms were closed,
Yeah,
the pandemic, people started getting their own equipment. And then, if you have that at your place, like you don't need to go back to the gym.
right. Yeah, it's just like a lot of, I don't know. I didn't have gym friends
Yeah,
because it was just like doing my own thing.
sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
having a community is definitely helpful.
yeah. I just kind of do my own thing at home. Well, I used to. Right now, like I said, I'm taking a break.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
I gotta get the muscles back a little bit. So.
You will, you will.
Yeah.
So when you're waking up in the morning, um, what does your morning routine look like each day? Like, what do you do?
I don't know, dude. I don't really have a morning routine because I'm so like, I'm very like all over the place with
Uh,
what I do. Like, I could be up until 2:30 in the morning editing and
yeah.
sleep in, or I could wake up at 5 and start editing. And, so it just depends on how I'm feeling work wise. So
So
it's different for me every single day.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
of course. And it
yeah,
can be flexible. When you wake up, is there anything you do before you start editing, or do you just jump right in?
I kind of jump right in. Like, I don't know. A lot of times when I sleep, I have different ideas.
Uh-huh.
And when I wake up, I go and I act on those. So it's like inspiration. Like whenever I feel inspired to get up and work.
Yeah,
Like some days I'll sleep until 12, PM. But
sure. Especially if you're
some
up till
days,
2.
yeah. Like if I've been up and if I've been working a lot, like I'll sleep. Like that's one thing is like I'll try to listen to my body like when I need to, when I have the time to. Like if I have a bunch of shoots in a week, like I have to just do them. But like if I'm like, dang, I'm tired, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sleep all day.
Yeah,
Like just lounge all day and then get back to it the next day. So
right. And
I
that's
don't
part of
really
the
have a
part of
morning routine, but I try to listen to my body. Like when I'm tired, if I have the time, I try to sleep.
right. And that's part of the perk of having your own business, right? Like
Yeah.
you sort of can work on your own schedule to a certain degree. And if you have to sleep all day, like maybe that's the best thing that you can do for your business.
Yeah.
So you have more energy to bring to it later.
Exactly. Yeah. Like that happened last week, man. Like I had like 9 or 10 days of straight up shooting for all different projects. And then I was editing for like maybe 2 days after that. Next day, all rest. And then I got back to work. And then 2 days later, like 50% rest. Like
Yeah, yeah.
just it's in spurts. Like my work hours are just different, like I could be working from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. It's just non-traditional.
What is an obstacle that you're currently facing or recently faced, and what practices do you use to cope with it?
Just having the will to continue going, because sometimes you're like I try not to be as results driven as I was before.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
just kind of building on connections that I think will last, because I feel like I was like, oh, this is going to be the video. And I was playing like the short-term game. And now I think I'm kind of trying to transition into the long-term game, where I'm not looking for immediate success, but I'm looking for consistency. And one video that I think is a throwaway is going to end up being the one, which has happened already. Like I've thrown an edit together in 2 hours and posted it with the Richmond grid, and it was like the biggest video that like got 1,000 likes and now like I get 2 gigs off of it, but I just threw it together. And the one I put like the most time into, and I'm like, yeah, this is the one, gets the least amount of likes. So it's just about putting out good content all the time.
Yeah.
So I think that's the battle, like not checking for likes, but just focusing on quality.
I agree with that 100%. Like I found for me, the more attached I am to something, like
Yeah.
whether it's a result or, a response for like, how I want things to be received a certain way, like the more focus I give to that and not as much to just the process of doing it and putting it out, that leads to, disappointment because, you're setting up an expectation that may not be met. And
Yeah, exactly.
if it's
That's
not
also
met,
like
then,
with
you're
goals, like if you have a certain goal to reach, like if you don't reach it, you're like, dang, like what's wrong? But it's not even about that. Like, I think it's just the process, like you were saying. Because like say what you're starting right now, like what I'm interviewing for, or like this conversation.
doing, yeah.
Yeah. Like, will you have 1,000 likes on this? No.
Yeah.
But as it ages, as we both progress, especially as Journey progresses, like I'm going to come back to your talk show first, because we're having this conversation. Like you asked me to be on it. So it's different. It's just like developing relationships and investments. Like something that you think was a great interview that has 2 views could be done the same time, like 5 years down the road and have 1 million.
Sure.
So it's like you never know what relationships you form are going to turn into something. That's why when I saw you were making this, I followed you right back and you're like, you want to be a part of it? I was like, yeah.
I appreciate that, man. And like you said before, like timing is everything. And I've been trying to embrace that mindset more. People say trust the timings of your life. And as cliche as that sounds, like it's very true, and what if you want something to happen on a certain timeline, you're going to be disappointed because
it's not going to happen. It's going to happen like 2 years after what you really want it,
Yeah. So I'm learning to detach from that mindset and trust that like if it's not working out right now, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means it's not happening yet.
Yeah. That's it's all about
working towards that. Yeah.
Because when you see somebody who's blown up, it likely didn't blow up overnight. They've been doing something tirelessly for like 8 years, but now they're in the mainstream because of what their work is.
Right.
They've been doing it forever. So like, if I could give some sort of, advice to you, is just keep doing these episodes because like, and don't like share your vision with everybody because there are a lot of people who aren't going to believe what you're doing. There are a lot of people who didn't understand what I was doing with Journey. So I didn't even tell people. I told like 5 people who I was really working with because I was like, no one else's opinion matters because they're going to understand in 3 years when this film pops off because of its message, but they're not going to understand now. So what's the point of me wasting my breath? I just got to do it. There are a lot of people going to be like, oh, like, why are you starting a talk show? Like, who cares? Do it and see what happens. Like,
Yeah. I mean, what are the consequences? Like,
it's like, oh, it didn't work out. Oh, like, but if it does, it's like, this is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Good things can come from it. And, I'm excited for you to be a part of it, man. I really am.
Yeah, bro.
I want to move to wrapping up, but there's a few recurring segments on the podcast that I want to cover first.
Okay.
So first off is our mindset moment. What is a quote or tip that you use that inspires you to keep going and stay positive despite personal hardships?
I say this on set of Journey all the time is they don't see the vision. And that's just about like reframing and realizing that like people might not see what you're doing yet, but that shouldn't stop you from doing it, because they're going to be the very ones who are like, oh, I saw that guy doing X when it pops off. But, you know, they're not going to be the ones supporting you on the ground level. But, you know, realizing that people aren't going to see what you're doing, but they don't have to, because as long as you do, that's all that matters. And just surround yourself with people who do see it and who will give you actual, you know, constructive criticism about what you're doing. Not like yes men, or not people who are like, what you're doing is trash, but people who like, you know, believe in what you're doing and will be honest with you, you know. Then once you find that type of group, like, you're going to be successful.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, making sure that you are surrounding yourself with people who share your vision, you know, for what you want, but also have a vision for their life.
Yeah.
What they're trying to create too.
Right.
You know, you can support each other in that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Right. Next is PMA Warrior of the Week. Who is someone who inspires you to keep going and maintain a positive mental attitude?
I go back to Cole Bennett, bruh. Yeah, that dude who makes those music videos. Like, and oddly enough, like Sean Evans, the guy who does Hot Ones.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, it's weird. Like, I don't know why, but like when he would do interviews with people, and he's just so genuine of a person, and you start to understand like the struggles that the famous person has gone through, because he just like, you know, and that resonates with me. And hearing other people's stories on something as organic as people sharing hot wings and like being super authentic because they can't control it because stuff is so hot, like, that's cool. And it's such a weird way to get inspiration, but like when I was at my lowest, I would watch Hot Ones, and it was like something that I would think was funny, but also just get inspiration from the people who have shared their stories of how like no one believed in them, but they were still able to make it. It's like Hot Ones, and then Cole Bennett with Lyrical Lemonade. I don't know how often you're gonna get that answer, but Hot Ones.
It's a good combo, yeah. Lyrical Lemonade with some hot wings.
Yeah. Yeah. All food and drinks, baby.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Hot Ones as well. Like, it's a great format for a show. And it's really cool that he does, like, you know, a ton of research on the people
Yeah.
that
His
doing.
questions are phenomenal. Like,
Yeah, they're like in-depth, thoughtful.
yeah. Like, I've never heard questions like that. Like, I know Nardwar has like facts that are crazy, but like Sean Evans goes into like these psychological deep questions of like, he's like, I know you're from your hometown of here, but how did the perception of like this oil industry you know, intersect with your alignment on this song? And they're like, yo, what? But I don't know, he's just super detailed. Something about that, and like how genuine the show is, like, makes me feel good about what I'm doing. Like, one day I aspire to be on that show.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you want to go on Hot Ones?
Yeah, I'm scared, but I started building up my tolerance a little bit. I kid you not, when I started watching it a lot over quarantine, and I realized like the message I had and what I was doing, I was like, I think I'm gonna be on the show at some point, and I'm gonna start having some hotter sauces. And I've been doing it. I've been doing okay, but I haven't had the atomic bomb. So that one's gonna kill me.
Yeah. I know that they sell the hot sauces on their website.
I don't want to do that though, because I feel like it's cheating.
You can
I don't want to try
theirs. Recreate it.
Yeah, I don't want to try theirs, because I feel like that's just like,
yeah,
that's like not. I want to, if I'm on the show ever, like, God willing, that would be incredible. But I want to feel the atomic bomb for the first time, how everyone else feels it. Like, I don't want to be like, oh, I tried this before. I want to be like, oh crap.
Yeah.
This is crazy. While he's asking me the hardest question about my life.
Yeah.
That's while I'm on fire.
Well, I doubt you'd be feeling very good from eating the bomb hot wings, but what is a good food that puts you in a good mood and helps you to feel your best?
This is gonna be strange. Ice cream. I don't know.
Oh, I'm there for it, man.
Yeah, like bro, I go to Gelati Celestine and Cold Stone. Like those are my places. Like ice cream is like ice cream and popcorn are and coconut water. Those are my resets. Like I don't know what it is. Coconut water has like all your vitamins and electrolytes and minerals and whatnot, and it tastes good to me. Ice cream is just good. Cookies and cream, bro, can't go wrong.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're the second podcast guest to say that. We had Abel Killian on in another episode. He's a tattoo artist at Lucky 13. And he said that his good food, good mood is also the Oreo ice cream from Gelati Celestine.
Yo, I need to meet this person ASAP.
Yeah,
the Oreo from Gelati Celestine puts me in a good mood, bro. That and the coconut, I get like a combination of the two, like one scoop of each in a small. Yeah, the Oreo gives me a nice reset.
Yeah, it's definitely not the healthiest food, but you can't be unhappy and eat ice cream. That's
for sure. And bro, this is weird, but I post about this on my story on Instagram all the time because I don't see a lot of people doing it. I go to the movie theater like on Tuesdays at Movieland, Movieland. They have the $5 large popcorns. I get the popcorn and then I leave. They're like, oh, enjoy your movie. And I'm like, I just get it and I go, I'm a huge popcorn guy.
So what do you tell the people who are checking for movie tickets?
I say, I'm just going to go get the popcorn. And they're like, okay. Yeah. I just get the popcorn and I dip. Like, yeah.
It's got to be official movie theater popcorn.
Yeah, bro. It's different. It tastes different, bro. Like, it's so good. So I go in and I get the popcorn and then I leave.
I love that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, that's what I do. That was the craziest thing. Someone said, enjoy your movie. And I said, okay.
I'm actually going to go watch Netflix.
Yeah. You can watch wherever you want, but you still have the movie theater popcorn. You're not limited to the selection they have.
Wow.
Try it, bro. It'll change your life. I'm sure.
Maybe I will. Oh, okay. Well, that's a good place to end it, I think. Where can people connect with you if they want to follow on your journey?
They can go to my Instagram, which is at MYLO.vid. So MYLO.vid. And go outside in Richmond and you'll probably see me walking around or see my drone. I can't even tell you the amount of people who I've met who even Broad Street Bullies, like Bradley and Salad and them. Like I was flying my drone at a Kickers game for fireworks and stuff. And Bradley lives right there. And he was like, bro, are you at the Kickers game? I just saw your drone. And I was like, yeah, that's me. So if you see a drone flying in the air around the city of Richmond getting cool stuff, I'm probably not too far away. So yeah.
Yeah, there's not too many of them out there.
Yeah, I know. And then when you see if you see a drone in the air, shoot me a text and I'm probably there.
All right. Well, thanks again, Mylo. It was great talking to you. Looking forward to connecting again soon.
Yes, sir. Same here.
Have a good evening.
All right. You too, bro.
Hey, guys. Thanks for checking out our podcast. I hope you got a lot out of it and it was helpful for you in your personal growth journey. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast yet, please do so on your preferred podcast provider. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Stay blessed and keep the PMA. Later.